Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. And today we have Brink with an exclamation point at the end. Uh, this is a movie from 1998. It's an hour and a half long, and just looking at these guys just makes me want to hate it. I mean, they're just looking at you, just all greasy. Honestly, anyway, this is this is a movie set in California, set in Los Angeles area, and it is focused on inline skating. It's 1998. You know how you can tell it's 1998? There's in a movie about inline skating on the Disney Channel, and whenever there's a chance, they're playing ska. They're playing ska music a lot in this. But yeah, it's I actually did not hate this movie. I'm as surprised as you are. I mean, when these things, in Disney or pretty much anybody who makes market focused movies or television for teens, and it says, hey, you know what's hot right now? Inline skating. You know what's hot right now? Pogs. If you don't know what a pog is, well, you're officially 15 years old, and yeah, you're Millhouse. No, no, you're not Millhouse. Millhouse knows what pogs are. They're coming back, Bart. Anyway, you know what's hot? Let's make a movie about pogs or inline skating and put ska in it, and a really bad song at the very end that it just, it just Brink. Like it's about Brink. Like they wrote it for the movie. Anyway, uh, like I said, I didn't hate the movie. It's I guess it's a Disney Channel movie. It's not meant to be great. It is not great, and I'll tell you, it is not a great film. But this is the kind of movie I could probably put on the background while I'm cleaning again and watch it and get something out of it each time. It's there's so many freaking tropes in this. You could just swap out the inline skating for any sport. Literally any sport. You could swap it out for chess. You could swap it out for Pokemon battle card playing, Magic the Gathering. You could swap it out for anything because you got the good guy who's this guy in the blue. That's Brink. His name is Alex. No, Andy Brinker, but they call him Brink. No, when he's skating. So, anyway, Andy is just a nice guy. He just loves to skate. He wants to skate for fun. Him and his friends, they go out. They get the bus normally to go to Venice to skate in the pit. And maybe this setup. By the way, I've been to Venice plenty of times. This pit doesn't exist anymore that I can recall. That I can tell. There's skate areas there. But I don't think this specific one is there anymore. And I gotta bring this up. It's kind of fun. What really drew me into this movie right off the bat was the fact that the opening sequence, after he rushes out skipping breakfast, and it's the last day of summer, of course, but yet so much else happens. Oh, that's right, school. That's right, they do start school the next day. Anyway, it's the last day of summer, and they're just going to take the bus to Venice Beach, which is just a million miles away. It's like forever. But he's late, and so he says, hey, friends. He has three friends. Let's all just skate to the beach, to Venice Beach. And yeah, okay. That's if you're in Culver, sure. If you're anywhere, mid Wilshire, okay, maybe. I don't know. It's to anybody outside of California, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But it's apparent that when they're skating, this montage of just grinding rails and going downstairs and all this other shit stuff. Uh, they're in Long Beach, so 1 minute they're in Long Beach and they're just going nuts, and they're at the Long Beach Convention Center, which I am at in a normal year without a pandemic. I'm there 3-4 times a year, it seems. I know that area really well, and so they're there in Long Beach, and then they suddenly are in Santa Monica, which means that who knows where they are? Who knows where they actually live? And they're skating all the way to Venice. If if they were really coming from Long Beach or anywhere lower than that, and then making their way all the way up PCH past the airport and everything else, and again, this means nothing to anybody outside of LA, but you were exhausted. You just spent half a day getting to Venice Beach, and you're not going to feel like skating at all. You were just going to lay down and die. That's just the way it is. I realize not everybody's 16, 17 anymore. I'm certainly not. I would be dead. I would be absolutely dead if I skated from essentially Orange County, North Orange County, all the way to Venice Beach. But I mean, once you're in Santa Monica and they make their way down to the pier and then skate down to Venice, that makes sense. It just to me, sorry, it has nothing to do with the actual plot or characters of the movie. I just love it that they skated until it's literally a skate or die situation, skate to die situation. So that's my rant, and I'm sorry that I just had to say that. But by the way, they spend a lot of time when they're hanging out, just having sodas and burgers and stuff on the Santa Monica Pier. So honestly, I don't know where they live. It's just, and I think they did shoot a bunch of stuff like in Manhattan Beach and stuff like that around there. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just hilarious to me. So anyway, Andy Brink is skating with his friends, and they're in the pit, and they're just hanging out. And then, of course, this sponsor team comes by with this douche, this guy. He comes in there, and he's, lording it over them, treating them like crap, and they're there for a photo shoot with Inline magazine, back when magazines existed, and people cared about them. I used to work for a magazine. Nobody cared about them when I worked on them. So, yeah, anyway. I worked on many magazines. Holy crap. Anyway, it's a big deal, and this team is sponsored, and they're making money just for skating. But Andy and his friends, they're too good for that. They just do it for fun. They're doing it for money. What happens here is, I'm not going to give away the whole movie, but I'm going to give the gist of what the conflict is. And Andy realizes his family is struggling with money. His parents talk about it, and they're like, "Hey, your rent's not, or the mortgage isn't due until next month, and in a few more weeks." And they can barely get by. They're about to lose the house because Dad had an injury at work with his back, and he apparently didn't have any kind of coverage, work compensation. They don't know if he's going to get his job back. Like, if he got injured on the job, at least some of this should be covered. Anyway, he doesn't know if he is going to have a job in the future. So Andy says, "I'm going to swallow my pride, and they have an open slot on the X-Blades team, which is the sponsor team, but they spell it X-Bladz. To me, that's X-Bladz. X-Bladz. And thankfully, by the way, I was expecting to hear this at least once in the film. I did not hear the word extreme. This was a time in America, if not the world, where everything that was important was extreme. We even had Extreme X-Men for a time. Extreme X-Men. For no reason. They're mutants. They're fairly extreme by nature. So, anyway, the X-Bladz. X-Blades. Take him on, but this guy lords it over this guy. And he's like, "You can't be crappy to me in public." But they have a rivalry. They made him eat a worm sandwich. You have to see it to believe it. There's a big contention between these two skinny hunks. And there's tension, and he swallows his pride. He joins the team. He does well. He's uncomfortable. He hates doing it, but he's trying to do it for the right reasons. But he also has to hide this fact, even though he's tried to tell his friends. Things keep getting in the way, even up to the point where he has to compete. He has to, but first pretend that he's sick and get around telling his friends. They find out, of course, that any secret you have in a movie gets found out. That's what conflict arises from that. That's just the way it always works. No secret ever goes unrevealed in a movie. You know this. This is movie writing 101. Anyway, they find out there's a big blow up. They're really angry at Brink, and tensions get kind of crazy. Dad and Mom try to do their best to talk to Brink, and there's that tension there. Dad refuses. He tells his parents that he's going to be skating for money, and they're like, no, you're going to get a job washing dogs. And because Dad's like, no, you're not. You already skate too much. Why should you be skating for a living at this point, even though it's good money? So, yeah, tensions there. By the way, Dad is Tackleberry from Police Academy. For you kids, you don't know what I'm talking about. But what I gotta say his name here, David Graff. David Graff is Tackleberry. He's no longer with us, unfortunately. He died a few years after this movie was made, sadly. But he's so good. He is like the consummate character actor of his time. He's been in everything in the 80s and 90s. Just look him up. GRAF, David Graff. He's so good. And by the way, the writing in this, normally I am really critical of the writing, and just it's usually fairly by the numbers and fairly cliche, and everybody playing their roles. But there's a lot of stuff in this, conversation-wise, that has nothing to do with the story, but is inserted in there that really builds their characters. The mom, the dad, and the little sister all have good lines, really good lines. He is pretty much by the numbers, and he does his teen lingo stuff, and that annoys Dad, which adds humor. But Dad, Mom, and little sister all, and I guess him, they all get great, funny lines. It's written like a sitcom without a laugh track, thankfully. It's written like a sitcom without the pregnant pauses waiting for laughter, or this is a drama. It's listed as a drama. So, and it is drama because there's lots of conflict and anxiety and stress of him trying to keep his friends, save his family from, destitution, and also skating for fun, because they're soul skaters. He's got all sorts of conflicts as a teenager, more so than he should involve when he, roller skates. And anybody should roller skating. But yeah, it's actually fun. I was less interested in watching the skating, because usually all that is actors, stuntmen or real skaters taking the spots of all these actors doing the hard tricks and everything else. And these guys actually do skate, but not the hard tricks. It's obvious. I mean, come on. It's usually just cutaways to professionals going nuts on the ramps or doing the downhills or whatever. And, like, there's an eternal downhill somewhere along the beach. I live in beach cities areas. In the area, yes, there are hills, but they don't last as long as these hills that I'm seeing in the final battle race. So, his best friends actually are reasonably well rounded out. Gabriella is she's Peruvian. She makes sure you know that. She's very tomboyish, and she skates as hard as anybody else. She's just not some girly girl. She gets picked on for not being so girly, but she holds her own against the jerks who would cut her down for the way she dresses and the way she acts. She can hold her own with any of them, and his friends have good lines. Everybody has decent lines in this. It shouldn't be as good as it is, and it is. It's pretty good. It's not great. There's no award show that's going to go, oh, Brink, yeah, that's here. Have a lot of gold statues. No, nothing. But it's amazingly well done. I would have liked to have seen this. People who made this do more stuff. I mean, I think it might have been Disney Channel that sort of maybe held them back. I don't know anything about this. This is the first time I've heard of this movie. today, well, yesterday when it was picked. So, holy cow! I spent 15 minutes talking about this. Brink. It's, you know what? If you grew up with this movie, or if you grew up in this era, in the last century when we had lined skates where the wheels were in a row. I grew up in the area where it was 2 and 2, front and back, on each foot, uphill both ways. So if you were around the last century and you grew up with this kind of stuff on Disney Channel TV, it's time to revisit it. And it holds up surprisingly well. Yes, it is very dated, but it holds up. It doesn't break any new ground, really, storytelling wise. All the conflict resolutions are exactly what you think they're going to be, and how they're going to happen. Child and parent, friends and hero and enemy, winning, losing, all that stuff. Lessons learned. So it all happens as you expect it to. It's a Disney Channel movie. Watch it. If you would have asked me this when I saw this yesterday, because I check it right after to make sure that it's on here right after I log off from the previous episode. When I saw what this was, I was like, oh, this is going to be rough. I was wrong. Brink is actually all right. Holy cow. Anyway, before we go, I got to shout out. Robin Riker plays his Andy's mom, and you'll recognize her if you've seen any form of television or movie. She's also a prolific character actor who's done so much, and she's great in this too. Her line delivery is amazing, along with David Graff. The parents are some of the best parts of this, and they do not have enough screen time. Little sister's great, and I'm usually very critical of kids. She is Katie Volding. I don't know what she's done since. I didn't look it up, but she's like 10 in this. I don't know. She is little, and she's pretty good. She's really good for her age. So all over, everybody's pretty good. So weird. Ska. Let's do some skanking. Let's see what we got tomorrow.
526.
526. This might be into those. Oh, overstepped at 520. Oh, come on. 526. Okay, we got a documentary, and I have a feeling it's biblical, because it is talking about the flood. Now, yes, we all know that there are many flood myths through many cultures around the world, so who knows? I could be wrong about what this is, but when you call something the flood and it's a documentary, it's going to be talking about the historical existence of the flood. Proving or disproving, don't know. Digging, archaeology, we'll figure it out. But the flood, probably a National Geographic special, one episode, whatever. That's what it is, probably. So we'll watch The Flood tomorrow on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you here.